Hi, boys and girls. Today's learning target is I can plan the sequence of my personal narrative by using my five senses. Yesterday, we brainstormed topics for our personal narratives. Today, we will use a graphic organizer to plan out the beginning, middle, and end. Since we are still planning out our personal narrative, we are in the pre-writing stage of the writing process. We were there yesterday when we brainstormed ideas. Today, we're still pre-writing. So just to remember, a personal narrative is going to be a story about your life. It's going to have sequence, which means it's going to have a beginning, middle, and end. It's going to go in order. First this happened, then this happened, finally. Right here, the author says, first of all, after I got back home, finally. There's going to be dialogue, which we won't work on today. There's going to be the character, which is you and maybe someone else, a setting where it takes place, and emotions, which we won't really do too much of today. So, yesterday, I filled out my graphic organizer to find a topic. After looking over all the topics, I decided I really wanted to write my first narrative on getting lost in the woods. The day I got lost in the woods. I thought that would be a really fun story to write about. So I'm going to write this one. I want you to think of a topic that it's a small topic. So, for example, at first I put California here, but I realized I did so many things in California. So, if I were going to write about California, it would be about seeing the Hollywood sign for the first time. That would be what I would write about. So, if you're going to have a big topic, try to find one moment in that story that you're going to write about. So I'm going to write about getting lost in the woods. That's pretty small. I can talk about what happened when I got lost in the woods. To help us plan our narrative, we're going to use an organizer that looks like this. We're going to write quick bullet points about the beginning, middle, and end. And then we're going to think about during our moment, what do we see? What do we hear? What do we feel? What do we smell? What do we taste? We're just using that because it's going to help us plan out our story. It's going to help us draft our story tomorrow. So let me show you how I filled out this graphic organizer. So I'm going to highlight the, I'm going to highlight the, or give me, I'm going to highlight what I need to do. So the topic is getting lost in the woods. Okay, that is what it's about. The characters are really just me mostly, but my friend Jessica's in my story as well. But really, it's mostly me, and then I talk a little to Jessica. So, in the beginning, when I think back to my memory, I have to remember where do I want to start my story? So, this is what happened in the beginning. And notice I'm not actually writing the story yet, I'm just putting little bullet points and taking notes of what happened. So, in the beginning, we wanted to get to the lake. We mapped out our 5-mile hike. We prepared our backpacks and we started our journey. Right? Everything was fun. We were very excited. In the middle, I just remember we were walking quickly. We saw chipmunks. We realized we were walking for too long. We were hiking for too long. And that's when we realized we were lost. That all happened in the middle. The end, you want to think about how did your story end? What was the result? What was the outcome of your story? So for me, we ended up calling the police. We had service. We found an old woman who we found a old woman who helped us. And we never made it to the lake. It got so late that we ended up having to go back. We ended up having to go back where we started, which it was when we were camping. So I started thinking of sensory details. Senses are your five senses, which we all know, right? What we see, what we hear, what we feel either inside our hearts or what we feel when we touch, what we smell, what we taste, right? So I see, I was in the woods. That was the setting. So it was greenery. There was forest, rocks, leaves, bugs, and chipmunks. There were probably more animals, but those are the ones I saw. I heard crackling of leaves when I was walking and twigs. I heard birds chirping. I heard footsteps. I felt relaxed in the beginning. Then I felt tired. And then I remember feeling scared, right? When I realized we were lost. The smell I smelled was earthy, kind of like leaves. And what I tasted in my mouth was kind of by the end, I was so tired and thirsty that my mouth was really dry. Okay, boys and girls, I want you to think back or look back at your list from yesterday. Out of all the topics, which is the one you want to write your first personal narrative on? I know you might want to write about all of them, but just pick the first one you want to write about. I then also want you to kind of whisper to yourself, what happened? Go back to that memory. What happened in the beginning? What happened in the middle? And what happened in the end of your memory? Right? Kind of think out loud so you can remember the details. Now you will be using your graphic organizer, this one, the same one I did, to plan out your story. Keep in mind, only write, only write bullet points, notes, not every detail. That's later for drafting. Remember to put your events in order. Tomorrow, we will be taking our graphic organizer and drafting out the beginning of our narrative. Do you know what to do when you get on Otis? If you're unsure what to do, you can watch the video again and pause it to make sure you understand. Ask a teacher, and at the very end, just try to do it, attempt to do it, and see how far you can get. Good luck.